Once upon a time, Shane Falco showed great promise in American football. He achieved significant success and then crumbled. Having failed to recover from his failures on the field, Shane retreated into the shadows. He settled on a boat, started cleaning expensive yachts, and finally forgot about football. Meanwhile, the Washington Sentinels were finishing their next game. But few people were interested in the score on the scoreboard, except for those, of course, who had bet money on this match. Commentators discussed more about the upcoming strike of players earning millions of dollars. They want more money, but no one is going to raise salaries. Washington Sentinels club owner Edward O'Neill invites former head coach Jimmy McGinty to his place. He suggests hiring understudies to replace those players who have gone on strike. The understudies will play a few games until the season is over, and then they will return to their usual lives. Only McGinty can handle such a task, and he agrees to work with understudies. Only he sets the conditions. He will make all decisions individually and will assemble the team according to his liking. O'Neill approves of this approach. McGinty selects players for the main squad who have not practiced football for a long time. At the same time, they are all endowed with certain talents. For example, Clifford Franklin is able to outrun any player on the field. True, he has problems with holding the ball, but it's fixable. Or Danny Bateman, who currently works in the Special Forces, but used to shine on the field, taking out the toughest opponents. McGinty also recruits Shane Falco to the team. He's given up, of course, and he's used to thinking of himself as a loser, but he can't find a more talented quarterback. The coach calls a British man named Nigel Graff to score goals. This guy owes a lot to the Italians, but he has an excellent kick. McGinty also invited Brian Murphy, a deaf-mute, to play. He is an excellent football player, but due to hearing problems, they refuse to recruit him to the team on a permanent basis. When the understudies arrive for their first training session, they are greeted by the striking players of the club. They are unhappy that they were replaced so quickly. The parade is led by Sentinels quarterback Eddie Martell. Falco is late for practice and Eddie meets him with his guys to make fun of him. They tip Shane's car onto its side, but Shane is philosophical about it. In addition to the players already listed, the Japanese Fumiko joined the team. This big guy was once a sumo wrestler and now he could easily move any opponent. Looking at the players, McGinty realized that he was going to have a hard time. Bateman attacked Falco as if he were guarding Iron Man. The Count was constantly smoking and loitering around, and Fumiko almost ran over the assistant coach. Shane met Annabella Farrell before training. She was gathering girls into a support group. However, everyone who came to try out looked, to put it mildly, unpresentable. Therefore, when the friends from the strip club came, Annabelle immediately accepted them and asked them to bring colleagues from the workshop. She noticed Shane too, and she liked him. However, Annabelle had a rule not to date players, and so far she has not violated it. At lunch, Fumiko and Jamal Jackson quarreled over geographical differences and almost got into a fight. Danny was also not happy to see Earl Wilkinson at his table, who was released from prison to participate in the games. After practice, Annabelle offered Shane a ride home. Falco's car was still resting on its side, and the quarterback accepted the girl's offer. On the way, she almost killed Shane because she was clearly worse at driving than dancing in front of the fans. Before the start of their first game together, Fumiko fortified himself with boiled eggs, which he later regretted. He threw up on the field and then Franklin joined him. McGinty had already hoped that Falco would become a leader and the players would unite around him. But so far this has not happened. The enemy butchered them like suckers, and the team members themselves tried to beat each other up. They quarreled and fought over a place on the field, and Danny almost injured the cheerleaders when he ran onto the field. But then Shane pulled himself together and subdued the team. The game went well, Playing even scored a goal when he had the opportunity. However, in the end Falco saved, and his team lost. McGinty was unhappy with the quarterback's decision, and he himself understood that he had screwed up. In the evening, the understudies gathered at the bar to drown their grief in wine. Well, or in beer. Eddie Martell and the guys also came here. They started bullying Brian because of his deafness, and Shane stood up for the guy. The rest of the team also stood up for him. A scuffle ensued, in which only Franklin sat on the sidelines. At least there were no pencils in the bar, otherwise Falco and Martel's fight could have ended differently. When the cops arrived, the understudies were taken to a cell. But they didn't lose heart here either. Franklin stirred up the team, and everyone started dancing until the coach appeared. He dragged his guys out of the cell and threatened that next time he would kick the instigator of the fight out of the team. Annabelle picked Shane up this morning. When she saw a bruise on Falco's arm, she treated it with a special ointment and went to work. Annabelle owned a bar, which she inherited from her father. Her dad was a big fan of American football and instilled in his daughter a love of sports. On her way out, Annabelle invited Shane to stop by her bar one day. When Falco arrived for training, Martel and his friends were waiting for him here. They turned over the newly repaired car again. Team members Shane Jamal and Andre Jackson didn't like it. They told me to return everything as it was. And when Martel refused, Jamal made several ventilation holes in his expensive car. After this argument, Falco was left alone. McGinty gathered the players to talk to them about fear. He understood that the team was losing not because it was blocked by opponents, but because the blocks were inside each player's head. Shane said he was afraid of getting caught up in failures, and the others supported him. Everyone had their own hidden fears, and by revealing them, the players were able to act more freely on the field. When the next game took place, Falco and his guys opened up to the fullest. Shane was riding a wave. He was no longer afraid of being knocked down, and Fumiko, having taken possession of the sword, stood up to several opponents at once. He carried them to the end of the field. The girls from the support group also excelled. They showed such hot dancing that the players couldn't take their eyes off them and lost the initiative. But it was not without setbacks. Grabbing the ball, Danny completely forgot about time and began dragging it around the field, as if it were the first box office successful Marvel movie he had shot. I had to gently knock him down. The coach understood that it was impossible to release players on the field with a minimum amount of time. Therefore, he took a risk and brought the count into the game at his request. Nigel was confident that he would score a goal even from that distance. And he wasn't kidding. Shane caught the ball, put it under the Count's foot, and the Count executed a brilliant shot. In the evening, Falco comes to Annabelle's bar before closing. They talk, find a lot of common topics, and then Shane gets ready to leave. Annabelle hints to him again that she is not ready to break the rules about dating football players. However, Falco stops at the threshold and goes on the attack. He makes Annabelle forget about her principles. He was also successful on the football field. The team was going very well, and if it defeats the Dallas players next week, the Washington Sentinels will advance to the playoffs. And this has not happened for 7 years. During the next game, Falco worked 100%, but Franklin let him down. He never learned how to catch passes, and the coach had to put glue on his hands. Clifford did not like this, because clay caused him unhealthy associations with elephants. But he had to accept it. But this trick worked, and Franklin caught another pass without a blemish. After the match, a journalist approached Falco for an interview, but he sent her to Clifford because he was the hero of the day. But the journalist didn't like talking to him, and she hurried to finish the interview. There is only one game left before reaching the playoffs with Dallas. O'Neill got his star player Martel back on the team, which means Falco will have to be thrown out. McGinty disagreed with him. He stood up for Shane like a mountain, but he had to give in. With Martel, the team has a better chance of winning, which means the players will be able to establish themselves in the professional arena. Falco did his best to prepare for the upcoming game, but the coach upset him. Shane left with dignity, but meeting Martel in the locker room spoiled the impression. In the evening, Monobel was waiting for Falco for dinner, but he did not come. He got completely upset and went to the bar to his guys to tell them about the replacement. The football players were having fun, and one of the strippers promised Brian something in sign language, but the party had to be stopped. Shane said he would be replaced at the game and his friends supported him. They were unhappy with the coaching staff's decision, but there was nothing they could do. When the match with Dallas started, the team began to lose ground. They couldn't play with Martel, and he only considered himself worthy of standing on this field. Shane was watching the game on his yacht, and when Magenty hinted through reporters that he wanted him back, he went to the stadium. When he appeared in the locker room, he encouraged the team, and they threw Martel out. Then Shane entered the field. He apologized to Annabelle for missing the date, promised to marry her and buy a dog. Next, he helped his guys relieve the accumulated tension by sending them on the attack against the Dallas Cowboys. After kneading their sides a bit, the players got down to business. They were on their way to victory, but Graf's creditors appeared at the stadium, and he decided to merge the match for the sake of his bar, which could be taken away for debts. Shane didn't let him do it, and Nigel later thanked him for it. Magenty's team won the match. They have done what any successful athlete dreams of. We got a second chance and made the most of it. After the game, they returned to their usual lives, but now they had something that no one could take away. A well-deserved victory.